KEPServerEX is a leading software platform in the industrial automation industry, enabling connectivity and data acquisition from a wide range of devices and applications. It acts as a bridge between OT and IT. In this section, you'll learn how to connect KEPServerEX to a CODESYS runtime inside IE650 PLC. You'll also learn how to connect a client to KEPServerEX. For this example, Ignition will be used as the client. Make sure you have KEPServerEX installed and running on your workstation. If you are in a development stage, remember the demo version has a time-limited trial, after which some of the features will stop working. You will also need an IE650 PLC connected to the same network, and a CODESYS project running in the PLC with variables exposed using the symbol configuration object. First, open KEPServerEX and create a new project. In the project tree, go to the Connectivity object and click on Add a new channel. There, select CODESYS Ethernet as the channel type. Specific options for this channels can be adjusted to your needs. Then, add a new device inside the channel by selecting CODESYS v3 Ethernet as the device type. Again, these parameters are up to your preferences. Now, set the IP address of the IE650 PLC where the CODESYS project is running, and leave the default port 11740. Click Next to proceed until prompted to enter authentication settings. Here, you can use the same credentials configured in CODESYS the first time the PLC was programmed. Click Finish to create the device. Now, double-click on the newly created device to open the property editor, and under Tag Generation, select Create Tags. The progress and log of the tag generation will be available in the terminal at the bottom of the main window. If everything goes as expected, a message will indicate the number of tags created. Now, you've successfully connected to the PLC's OPC UA server and extracted its variables to expose them in KEPServerEX to other clients. In this case, we will use Ignition as an OPC client to illustrate the next steps in the setup. To allow Ignition or any client to connect to KEPServerEX, authentication credentials must be defined. On Windows, go to the notification area of the taskbar, right-click the KEPServerEX icon, and select Settings. Add a new user under the desired section. In this case, we are giving it administrator role to simplify the process, but it's possible to add them under Server Users and manage its permissions. Define a username and password and apply changes. Make sure to remember these credentials as they will be used for your client connection. For this case, we've already prepared the endpoint connection in the Ignition gateway. If you don't know how to set it up, please refer to the documentation. Here we'll use the credentials we just defined on KEPServerEX. As expected in this protocol, we need to trust the Ignition gateway's certificate after establishing the connection. This applies to any client you are trying to connect. To do this, go to the notification area and open the OPC UA configuration panel. After your OPC client attempts to connect, its certificate should appear in the untrusted list. Locate the client certificate and manually trust it. If the client certificate is not trusted, the connection will be blocked even if the endpoint and credentials are correct. Once the KEPServerEX OPC UA connection is created, you can now configure Ignition to browse and connect to the exposed tags. This allows you to access the PLC variables for your Ignition project. In some cases, you may notice variables are visible in other clients, but not on KEPServerEX. This is because KEPServerEX doesn't connect to the OPC UA server using OPC. It uses a special driver for CODESYS. Hence, if you only exposed variables using the Communication Manager object, you won't be able to generate the tags on KEPServerEX. To solve this, go back to the CODESYS project and add the symbol configuration. After building and uploading the project to the PLC, the variables will become available to KEPServerEX. Go back to KEPServerEX and select the tag generation settings to try creating tags again. As you can see, now the application variables are displayed on the list. If OPC UA client cannot connect to KEPServerEX, the first thing to check is the endpoint configuration. Make sure the endpoint URL set on the client points to the correct IP address of the machine running KEPServerEX. Then check that the default OPC UA port used by KEPServer, 49320, is being used by the right service. You can check port usage on PowerShell by using the netstat command as shown in screen. Once the PID is identified, you can use the task manager to make sure KEPServer is using the port. Another critical point to verify is the KEPServerEX license status. If the server is running in trial or demo mode, communications will automatically stop after the demo runtime period expires. When this happens, OPC UA connections will fail even if everything is properly configured. If that's the case, go to the Services application and search the KEPServerEX runtime. Right-click on it and press Restart. This will reset the trial time, allowing you to keep developing your integration.